Hi guys, welcome to another episode of MrLopezClasses.com. In this episode, this is the chapter 13 of our diesel engine class. In this chapter, we are going to talk about injection systems. Yes, we are going to cover the fuel injectors, the fuel injector pumps, and the different type of fuel injection systems. And we are going to check the troubleshoot on those systems. Okay, my friends, we are going to start right now with the injectors. The injectors are divided in high pressure and low pressure injectors. What is the meaning of low pressure and high pressure? Is basically around the PSI. The low pressure injectors are in between 75 PSI and 3000 PSI. 3000 maximum 3500 PSI. This is considered low pressure side, and the majority of those injectors are mechanical injectors. Those are mechanical injectors, the majority. Okay, high pressure. High pressure are considered in between 10,000 PSI and more than 17 PSI. More than 17,000 PSI. Today we founded a fuel injection system with 25,000 PSI. And the majority of those high pressure injectors are electronics. Right now, we are going to check both of them. We are going to analyze the mechanical injectors and the electronic fuel injectors. Yes, my friend. Now we are going to check the high pressure injectors. Yes, the pressures are superior to 17,000 PSI. And I have a small micro video to show to you a typical high pressure system with electronic injectors. Okay, we are going to follow the video and I am going to explain in details that video. Okay, this is the fuel filter. This is the handle. You remember what is the name of that pump? This is the priming pump. It's located in the bracket where the fuel filter is bolted. In that bracket you have the priming pump, and on the side you have the bleeder in order to bleed the system to eliminate bubbles. Yes, this is the bleeder, correct. Over there you bleed the system and the fuel continue and enter exactly. Let me show to you. This is the fuel injection pump. This is the fuel injection pump. The filter, the fuel enter here. This is the fuel injection pump. In the other side, the fuel injection pump, the gear of the fuel injection pump is connected with the gear of the camshaft and the gear of the crankshaft. You remember? This is this is a mechanical fuel injection pump, but it's high pressure fuel injection pump. High pressure. Okay, the input is here and the output make a loop over there and goes up. Okay, goes up and enter in this pressure distributor. This is the pressure regulator. This is the pressure regulator. The fuel enter over there and the fuel goes out and enter in the common rail. Right now I am going to show to you where exactly. That's the pressure regulator. That's the sensor of the pressure regulator, and the fuel enter over there and continue and enter in the common rail. This is a fuel injection system, a common rail that we are going to study later in other episode. But this is the common rail. It's a pipe with high pressure. The pressure coming from the fuel injection pump. Okay, right now we have high pressure in this rail, and from the rail we are going to communicate to each injector. The communication is internally on the head. The communication is internally on the head, and the head have cavities in order to communicate here with the input, and this is the input of the fuel, and this is the output of the fuel, that hole. Those cavities are internally casting on the head. The input enters through the head over there, and the output returns to the head, and in the output of in one side of the head we have the feeding with the return line into the tank. Okay, this is the return. This is the return. Correct. At the return, all of those are return, and this is input. Remember, only 20% of the total amount of fuel entering, 20% is used in the combustion chamber, and 80% return. For that reason, the return hole is bigger than the input. Correct. This is the return, and in between this and this, you have two O-rings in order to avoid that the return fuel be mixed with the oil or other elements on the head, because remember, in the head you have coolant passing to refrigerate the head. You have oil to lubricate the rocker arms, and after that the oil drops by gravity into the oil pan. And additionally, you have cavities internally for the fuel, for intake and for return. Alright, my friend, this is the return, and is separated with O-rings. Internally, the cavities have O-rings in order to avoid that the fuel migrate in other cavities. Those are the O-rings on top for the input, and this is bolted on the head. Okay, look. Exactly. The input of each injector is internally connected with the body of the injector. Correct. Other one. And additionally, each injector is electronic. The computer sends the signal. The computer sends the signal. The computer sends the signal per each injector. This is a top view. This is a top view of the connection, the electrical connection to each injector. The electrical connection, the electrical connection, the electrical connection to each injector coming from the computer. Exactly. And this is the plug. If you check in the computer, if you check the manual, the service manual, you found that the computer with the pins, and you can identify which is the pin dedicated per each injector if you have a problem with one injector. I'm going to explain later the procedure to check each injector. Normally, each injector receives in between 4.5 volts DC and 5 volts DC. Yes, if you have an external source of DC power, you can activate those injectors with a 5 volts DC. With 5 volts DC, you can verify if the solenoid of the injector opened properly. If not, you can replace the solenoid. I am going to explain in this episode the procedure to replace the solenoid. In some cases it's possible. If not, you can send the injector to the machine shop specialized in injectors, and the machine shop return the injector properly calibrated. Normally they replace the solenoid. Okay, this is the connector, this is the adapter, and the connector have a clip, correct, in order to avoid that the cable be loose. Perfect. This is the situation with the high pressure injectors. Normally the high pressure injectors are electronic injectors, and right now we are going to check the procedure to disassemble the mechanical injector and the electronic injectors, each of those. And this one is the low pressure injectors, and those injectors work maximum to 3500 psi. Normally it's in between 1000 and 3000 psi. This is considered low pressure. 3000 is a lot, but this is considered in fuel system a low pressure system. And those injectors normally are mechanical injectors. Right now in this video I am going to show to you two types of injectors, and one of the injectors, this is a new engine, the injector open because the camshaft, the loads of the camshaft compress the injector and compress the spring and the fuel enter. Compress the spring and the fuel enter. In other words, this is an engine with common rail. In the common rail, you have fuel constantly, but the injector only open when the camshaft compress the spring and the injector open and the fuel enter in the combustion chamber. This is a special design. That system work with 3000 psi. Let me show to you that video, and we analyze what happened with that specific video. Okay, this is the fuel injection pump. This is the fuel injection pump. This is considered a fuel injection pump low pressure because it's around 3000 psi. It's not low pressure. This is not a transfer pump. This is a fuel injection pump considered low pressure, is around 3000 psi. This is the pump, and that's the input of the pump, and this is the output of the pump. Okay, in the output enter in the filter. You remember that filter? Correct. And this is the drain. The drain, you remember to bleed the filter. Correct. That's the bleeder. Okay, perfect. This is the filter. This is the secondary filter, of course. And right now the fuel entered, the return enter into the tank. The return of the fuel filter enter in the tank, and the fuel with high pressure pass to the heat exchanger. Pass to the heat exchanger. Exactly. This is the compartment on the heat exchanger for fuel. This is the fuel cooler. Okay, and the fuel pass over there in an internal serpentine and continue here, and goes into the common rail in the head. The common rail in the head. And from the common rail, enter in each injector, because the cavities internally in the head allow that the fluid enter in the injector, and the injector only allow the pass of the fluid when the camshaft, the loads of the camshaft compress the injector. Right now we are going to check that procedure. Okay, my friends, that the fuel continue over there, and enter in the head, in the cavities for the input, enter in the head. And right now, this is exactly, this is the injector. The injector on top looks similar to the spring of a valve, but not. This is the spring of the injector, and is used to compress the internal spring of the injector. And this rocker arm is dedicated to compress the injector. In the other end of this rocker arm is the camshaft. In other words, the camshaft per each cylinder have 3 lobes. One lobe for intake valve, exhaust valve, and the middle one for the injector. Right now we are going to check that. Okay, that's the rocker arm for the injector. That's the rocker arm for the injector. And in this side, this is the camshaft. One lobe for this rocker arm dedicated for the injector, and the other lobes compress directly the valves. Those valves are compressed directly for the lobes of the camshaft. Yeah, the valves don't use rocker arms. This rocker arm is exclusive for the injector. Now we are going to check the engine running. Exactly. Valves in each side, and in the middle are the injector. Exactly. This is the procedure. And now we are going to start the engine. We are going to check the lubrication, and exactly, look at the engine running. Exactly. And right now we are going to continue running the engine. This is the engine running. If you see, this rocker arm is activated, compressing the injector and sending the fuel to the cylinder according with the timing position. The timing position is according with the loads on the camshaft. That's a nice design. Nice design. Yeah? This is the rocker arm. The other end of the rocker arm compress the injector. Look, compress the injector. Compress the injector directly over there. And the injector push the fuel at 3000 psi into the combustion chamber. In each cylinder you have the same situation. You have intake valves, exhaust valves, and rocker arm for injector. Intake valve, exhaust valve, and rocker arm for other injector. And the next cylinder exactly the same. Those cylinders are exactly the same. Wonderful. Okay. This is a typical mechanical injector considered low pressure. Low pressure because it's below 3000 psi. It's in between 75 psi and 3000 psi. This one in particular, the injector is activated mechanically. In the next one is an engine that the extension of the camshaft with a couple of lobes compress the plungers of the fuel injection pump, and the plungers send the fuel to the injector and enter in the engine. Let me show to you that design. This is a typical design. This is a Perkins. Look. Exactly. This is the extension of the camshaft. In other words, the camshaft goes outside. Look, this is the gear of the camshaft. This is the block of the engine. This is the gear of the camshaft. The camshaft goes out with two additional lobes. Those lobes activate the plungers of the injection pump, the fuel injection pump. And in the output of the fuel injection pump, here in the output of the fuel injection pump, this is the input coming from the transfer pump, and this is the output. Those output enter over there in the fuel lines and enter in each injector. Enter in each injector. On top is the return. On top is the return. Yeah, correct. This is mechanical injectors, low pressure injectors. Okay, my friends, those are the typical low pressure injectors activated directly for the camshaft, or with the fuel coming from a mechanical fuel injection pump activated with a camshaft. Exactly the same. Those are considered low pressure, and it's very common. It's very common in marine application. Generators, medium and small engines use that system. Okay, and now we are going to check. What is the function of those? Injectors, low pressure and high pressure side? All the diesel fuel injection system perform the following functions: meter the fuel to the injectors, of course. Time the injection at the proper point in the combustion cycle. Perfect. Control the rate of the injection. Atomize the fuel internally in the combustion chamber. Start and stop the injection quickly, and create the properly injection of fuel in the combustion chamber. This is the function of the injector. The injectors are critical. How often should be the service on the injectors? Once again, depend on the manufacturer recommendations, but normally is around each 1,000 hours. You need to remove the injectors and send the injectors to the machine shop in order to calibrate the injectors. Or if you have the tool, I am going to show to you the tool today in this video. If you have the tool, you can check if the injector open at the properly pressure, and additionally you can check if the pattern of the fuel going out is the appropriate pattern. But if you have experience and if you have the tool, you can do that. If not, I recommend send the injectors to the machine shop. They calibrate the injectors, they replace the spring, they replace the washers. I'm going to show right now where I located those springs and those washers, and they do the service and they return the injectors properly calibrated. It's not expensive. What happened with the diesel fuel injectors? I explained before. The fuel injectors are classified into mechanical injectors and electronic injectors, and right now we are going to check both of them. We are going to disassemble both of them, and we are going to verify in both cases what is the difference internally in the construction of each injector. Okay, what is the purpose of the injector? The main purpose of the diesel fuel injector is deliver the fine mixture of diesel. Of course, if everything is possible, if internally in the combustion chamber you have the temperature and the pressure ready to receive that fuel. If the pressure and the temperature is not appropriate, when the fuel enters, the fuel never ignites. That's critical. And how can I get that pressure and that temperature? With a good seal in the combustion chamber, with good rings, piston rings, with a proper head gasket, when the valves close properly. In other words, if the volume of the combustion chamber is properly sealed, probably you reach the temperature. That's the secret. The seal on the combustion chamber. Okay, my friends. there is one injector per each cylinder. Of course, the majority of the diesel engines, they have only one injector per cylinder. Normally, the injector is located in between both valves or in the center of the head. If you make a section of an injector, you founded that distribution, you founded this spring, and at the end you founded the needle, and the needle open and close depending on the pressure of the fluid coming in. Right now I am going to explain. And normally the mechanical injectors work in between 1500 and 2200 pounds, maximum 3000 pounds psi, pounds per square inch. Those are for mechanical fuel injectors. What happened internally in the mechanical fuel injector is too simple. Remember, the majority of the fuel injectors, the fuel enter in one of the sides, the fuel goes down, and in this shoulder produce a pressure, lift the needle, and after that the fuel enter and penetrate the combustion chamber. Right now I have a video, and I am going to show to you the procedure to check the injectors. Yes, when the fluid enter, make a pressure over there, the needle, lift the needle, and the fuel spray over there. This is a simple mechanism. The secret is keep the nozzle properly clean. Right now we are going to check the different type of nozzles and how is the procedure to keep those nozzles clean. Alright, mechanical fuel injectors, the most common type of fuel injector, mechanical fuel injector, is the pencil. It's like a pencil, and this is the video. I want to share with you those injectors. I am going to explain in the video both of them, the mechanical fuel injector and the electronic fuel injector pencil, both of them. Okay, my friend, this is the video. We are going to check quickly what happened in that video. Okay, this is the mechanical and this is the electronic. That's the mechanical and this is the electronic. Alright, be careful with those O-rings. One O-ring in the bottom, other on top. Here we have one washer in the bottom and other O-ring on top. Those washers and O-rings, in some cases those washers are plastic. In some cases those washers are in copper. In some cases it's not a washer, it's an O-ring in rubber. Those O-rings are critical, my friends. Always when you remove the injector, you need to verify the condition of those washers or O-rings and replace. Yeah, but if you are in the middle of the ocean, probably you don't have a new O-ring or new gasket, and I recommend apply grease over there and seat properly the injector. Be careful when you remove the injectors with those washers. Be careful when you remove the injectors, verify that you have the washers and put the injector in a plastic container with a properly labeled according with the cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3. Be careful with those washers and those O-rings. Yes, those washers and those O-rings are critical. This is the input, the output. This is mechanical. This is the input and output for electronic, and this is the signal, positive and negative. The signal, positive and negative, is coming from the computer. How much is the voltage? In between 4.5 and 5 volts DC. Alright? This is the electronic, and this is mechanical. Electronic and mechanical. Externally looks the same, but in the electronic you have here on top, this is the solenoid. We are going to disassemble one of these right now, and we are going to check the solenoid internally. No, it's located on top. It's easy to identify. Alright, my friend. Okay, this is the mechanical, that's the input, and this is the return. Correct. Input and return. Input and return. And now they are located on the head, input, and this is the return on top. Very simple. Input and return. Okay, and this is the electronic. Always be careful with the nozzle. Right now we are going to check the nozzle. If you have a wire brush, clean the nozzle, and if you have a magnifier and you have a needle, try to clean the holes on the nozzle in order to verify that those holes are in good condition. If the holes are a little eroded or a little melted, I recommend order the kit for the nozzles and replace the nozzles. I'm going to explain right now the procedure. It's not complicated. The only that you need, once again, is the parts, the service manual and the parts manual, both of them. And if you have the parts manual, probably you have the part number and you can order the kit. I have an example in this video. Okay, check the nozzle, correct, and be careful with the washer. This washer, this is the copper washer, correct? This is the copper washer, and the nozzle, verify the condition, that's the washer, and special washers, and this is the O-ring, that's the O-ring. Okay, my friends, those elements should be verified, that the input, that the output, and this is the signal. That element that I have on top, is the solenoid, correct? And this is the procedure. Normally when you insert the injector on the head, I recommend cover the body of the injector with grease or with Vaseline if you have Vaseline. Okay, you introduce the injector carefully and you verify that the nozzle goes out through the other into the combustion chamber. Correct. You verify that the nozzle is going out. Okay, my friend, those are the pencil injectors, mechanical and electronic, both of them. It's simple, it's not complicated. Right now we are going to try to disassemble one of those injectors. Normally when you disassemble the injectors, you found those parts, the upper body, the spring, the pressure pin, and the washer, and the needle, and the nozzle, and the lower body. Those elements are coming with the kit. When you order the kit in order to repair the injectors, you receive those elements and you can replace those elements. Normally, in what cases I need do a service on the injectors? Normally it's mandatory each 1000 hours, or depending on the manufacturer recommendation, and also if the injectors open improperly, or if the injector stay open all the time. What is the consequence, or what are the symptoms in those cases? For example, what is the symptom when this spring is broken? If the spring is broken, what happened? The injector stay open all the time. And what is the external symptom? You have black smoke. Of course, because one injector is leaking constantly fuel on the combustion chamber. You have black smoke and probably you have a lot of fuel outside through the exhaust pipe. This is in case that the injector is broken. And what happens if the injector internally is clogged and the spring open improperly, open partial, not totally, and a small amount of fuel enter? What happened? What is the symptom? Yes, high temperature in that cylinder. For that reason, my friends, if you are the engineer, if you are the responsible of those engines in a mega yacht, in a big boat, you need to keep your laser thermostat, your laser temperature gun, in order to verify the temperature on the heads periodically. Each 2 hours, check the temperature on the heads, especially in engines where the heads are individuals. In those engines, it's easy to identify. I have high temperature in the cylinder number 2 with respect to the other ones. What happened in that cylinder? Let me stop the engine and I verify what happened. One possibility is the injector. The injector open partially, less fuel enter in the combustion chamber, more air, less fuel, and the temperature increase because the mixture is lean. Yes, that's the consequence. Okay, in those cases, if you have a couple of cylinders running lean, probably you need service on the injectors. Okay, then the procedure is sent to the machine shop, or you can replace. Yes, you can replace. Let me show to you the procedure to do that service. This is the micro video that I prepared for you. Okay, that's the input of the injector, and this is the return. That's the input, and this is the return. Okay, and now we are going to disassemble the injector. The first step is with the part number, my friends, order the parts. Order the parts and you receive the kit with all of those elements. With the spring, with the washer, with the pin, with the nozzle, or you can buy each part separated. It's possible, both of them. Okay, and right now you disassemble the injector. Carefully you disassemble the injector, and now you can put separated the nozzle, the pin, the washer, and the spring. Be careful with the washer, be careful with the pin, and now you can replace those parts using the kit that you receive from the manufacturer. With that kit, you can replace the injectors, and now if you have the tester in order to introduce the fuel at high pressure, you can verify if the injectors open at the appropriate pressure and if the pattern of the fuel is the appropriate pattern. This is the next step. Right now we are going to check. Now we are going to check the electronic fuel injectors. The electronic fuel injectors, normally they work at higher pressures. Normally is in between 18,000 until 25,000 psi. It's a lot of pressure. Those injectors, internally the construction is similar to the mechanical injector, have a spring, have a needle, have a washer, exactly the same, but those elements are controlled for a solenoid. You remember the solenoid? Exactly the same, but right now the plunger is the needle of the system. Okay, my friends, right now I am going to show to you the procedure to repair those injectors. Those injectors receive the signal from the computer. Remember, the signal is in between 4.5 and 5 volts normally, and its DC signal is coming from the computer. If you check the wiring diagram in the service manual, you can find where are the pins dedicated for that specific injector. And you can follow those cables and identify if you have signal. If you don't have signal, you can create a small circuit. I explained in the course of electronics, you can create a small circuit with a small circuit board and supply 4.5 volts and keep the injector open in order to move the boat from one side to other one, and after that replace the computer or replace the injector or the element that is damaged. Okay, we are going to check another video. In this video I am going to disassemble the electronic fuel injector and replace the solenoid of the injector. Once again my friends, if you have the part number, order the parts directly from the manufacturer and don't touch the injector until you have the parts in your hands. Alright? Once again, in order to disassemble those injectors, prepare a table with a rack, clean the table and be organized, because those parts are small parts, small washers, small springs, and it's easy lose those elements. Prepare the conditions in order to do the service properly. Okay, we are going to disassemble the injector right now, and this is the video. Okay, that's the nozzle, the body, that's the input, that's the compartment for the input, that's the output, the return, and this is the solenoid. The solenoid is located here. This is exactly the solenoid. And now I am going to disassemble the solenoid. Yes, my friend, you can order, if you have the part number of that injector, you can order the solenoid. The solenoid is coming with the spring and the washer. Remember that the element that produces the pressure, you remember in the previous one, is the spring, the pin, and the washer. Those elements produce the pressure. If the injector is working under the operational pressure, you replace those elements, spring, washer, and pin, and immediately you recover the pressure on the injector. Of course, if the fuel is coming with the appropriate pressure. Right, this is the process. We are going to remove the solenoid and we are going to replace the solenoid. Okay, this is the cover. Normally those balls are longer balls, special thread. You remove the cover, and this is the solenoid. Exactly, my friend. This is the solenoid that the input 4.5 volts, 5 volts, and this is the element, the solenoid. That's the coil of the solenoid. And this is the element that normally is damaged. This one is the spring, and this is the pin. We are going to remove the solenoid. The solenoid is here, is located over there, and this is the pin, and this is the washer and the pin. Let me show to yours that the solenoid, exactly, this is the spring, and this is the washer. Perfect. And this is the body of valves. Simple, simple. That's the procedure to disassembly and the injector, and that's the procedure. Normally the fuel is coming over there. You don't need internally, the construction is similar than the previous one. Look, that's the solenoid that we remove here. This is the pin with the washer. Those pin and washer are here, and the rest is exactly the same. You have a needle, and the fuel enter laterally over there, enter in the bottom, you remember, and produce the pressure, and when the needle goes up, the fuel pass and spray the fuel. Yeah, that's the system. Internally, this part of the construction is similar to the previous one, but the secret is here in the solenoid. When the solenoid is activated, this pin goes up or goes down, goes up or goes down, and the fuel pass or no pass. That's the input of the fuel, and this is the return of the fuel. Okay, that's the procedure. And you can replace the solenoid. The construction internally is the same. You can replace the body. You put in back the solenoid with the spring, with all the parts, and you reassemble easily those injectors. That's the pin, the washer, the spring, the solenoid. It's a simple process. The only that you need is be organized, be clean, and the procedure is too simple. Okay, my friends, that's the procedure with the electronic injector, and right now we are going to check the nozzles. There are two types of nozzles, Hall nozzles and Pintle. And we are going to check in what type of situations are recommended both of them. Those are the different type of nozzles. There are two main type of injector nozzles, Hall or open, and Pintle or close. Yeah, those are the most common, and now we are going to check what happened in each case. In the Hall type, those are very common in high pressure injectors. Those elements, they have 4 or 6 holes laterally on the nozzles, and when the fuel reach that area, the fuel spray in 4 holes or 6 holes or 3 holes in some cases, like the example that I have in the video right now. Okay, and the Hall type is commonly used in direct fuel injection. Direct fuel injection is the injection where the injector is located directly in the combustion chamber. Of course, there are other type of injection system where the injector is located in the intake manifold. Is indirect fuel injection. This one with Hall type with 4 holes are used when the injector is located directly in the combustion chamber. Direct fuel injection system. And I have the video in order to check that type of nozzle, Hall type. Okay, this is the injector. You can verify the condition of the hole with a needle. With a needle, you introduce the needle, and look at this area of this injector. Those small holes are produced for vapor lock. The vapor lock produces the erosion here in the nozzle of this injector. This is the consequence when the engine, when the fuel enter in the combustion chamber with excessive temperature. Immediately the fuel become vapor and produce vapor lock and eroded the surface of the nozzle. This is exactly the situation where the injector is eroded for vapor lock. Okay, let me check the condition of the nozzle. All right, and now we are going to check exactly. This is the pattern. This is the pattern when the injector is clean, and this is the properly operation, and this is the pressure. Check this injector in particular open at 1000, 2000, the red one, the red scale. The red scale is PSI, and the black one outside is bars. Okay, in this one is at 2000 PSI. This injector open at 2000 PSI. All right. And the pattern is in spray, lateral, exactly. You see? Exactly. This is the procedure to check that nozzle. This is hole type. The next one is Pintle. Now we are going to check what happened with that injector. With the Pintle injector in Pintle nozzle, a pin or pintle protrudes and a spray hole. The shape of the pintle determines the shape of the spray. Pintle nozzles open at lower pressures than hole type. Yeah, I explained to you that the hole types are used in direct fuel injection. The pintle hoses nozzles are used in indirect fuel injection or pre-combustion chamber. Those are the engines that they have a special combustion, a small combustion chamber before the main combustion chamber. That small pocket is the pre-combustion chamber, and normally the engines with pre-combustion chambers they have glove plugs in order to preheat that area. Let me show to you. This is the typical engine with the injector pintle and with the glove plug. Look at the glove plug. The glove plug is used to preheat that area, to preheat the compartment on the head for the pre-combustion chamber. And this is the injector, and the protrusion is here, the pintle. And in this area is produced the explosion, and the explosion enter immediately in the main combustion chamber. This type of combustion chamber is considered a combustion or pre-combustion chamber, and is used in diesel engines with a low pressure injection system. Okay, and the pattern is completely different. Right now we are going to check in the video the pattern. The spray of the fuel is directly to the bottom. Right now we are going to check in this video what happened. Look, this is the hole where the pintle enter. In this moment the pintle is in. This is the pattern. This is the pattern. It's directly down. No? It's directly down. Correct. And normally that injector open at 2200 psi. This is the pattern. The injector spray directly down. Okay, my friends, and this is the typical service when you send the injectors to the machine shop specialized in injectors. They put all the injectors in a rail like this, like the rail that you have on the screen right now, and they verify if the pattern of all the injectors are equals. If the pattern of one injector is different, they check the injector or they replace the injector. This is very common when you send the injectors to the machine shop. I recommend each 1000 hours do the service. Is in between 600 and 1000 hours do the service on the injector. Verify periodically with a magnifier the condition of the nozzle. Verify if the nozzle is in good condition, if the nozzle is eroded, and or if the nozzle is clogged with the oil. If the nozzle of the injector is clogged with oil, probably it's because you have blue smoke. If you have blue smoke, remember, normally it's a problem on the valves, on the seal on the valve, or normally the guide in between in between the valve and the guide valve, they have too much play and the oil penetrate into the combustion chamber. All right, those are the different type of problems. Erosion, when the engine is running lean, the temperature of the head increase, the face of the valves are melted, and the nozzle is completely melted. This is the typical situation. This is another situation because the fuel is dirty fuel. That's not good, or water accumulated on the fuel. This is another type of problems. Is erosion. Is erosion produced for contaminated fuel? Normally, the fuel contaminated with water or with excessive amount of additives produce that situation on the injectors. The recommendation is keep the nozzle of the injectors clean. You can, when you remove the head, remove the injectors and send to the machine shop, or if not, you can remove periodically the injectors and clean the nozzles and verify the condition of the nozzles. In what situation you need to remove the injectors? Normally when you check the compression. When you check the compression, you introduce the compression tester in the hole where the injector is located. Or also you can introduce the compression tester in the hole where the glove plug is inserted if the engine is with pre-combustion chamber. Remember, the engines with pre-combustion chambers, they use Pintle nozzles, and the engines with direct fuel injection, they use Hall nozzles. Okay, my friend, be careful with the condition of the fuel. Do the service on the record parkers, the primary filters periodically. According with the video, I explained to you step by step the procedure to do the service on the filters. The life of the engine depends on the service on the filters. This is very important. If you remember in the previous small micro videos, I use the tool to compress the fuel and send the fuel into the fuel injector. This is a special tool. You can fabricate that tool with any hydraulic bottle, hydraulic jack. You can disassemble the jack and you can convert that hydraulic bottle jack into a tester for injectors, for mechanical injectors. It's simple. I explained in my book the procedure to do that conversion. Is not complicated. Or you can buy the equipment. I recommend try to keep one of those elements if you want to be dedicated to work with the diesel engines in the future. You need this tool in order to check the condition of the injectors. I recommend try to check in my book the procedure to verify the condition of those elements. Or if you wanted, you can buy the tool directly on the dealers, or you found it in internet. Use injector tester. Okay, this is the body. It's exactly the hydraulic jack. This is the body. This is the container. That's the container where you put the fuel normally, the diesel. And you have the body. You have the valve to open and close to release the pressure. Open and now close. And this is the dial, the gauge. The red one is PSI and the black one is bars. And this is the high pressure, the output, where the injector is connected, and this is the handle. And this is the process. Okay, I am checking an injector, Pintle, and the injector open at 2200 PSI. This is an important tool. I recommend that tool. If you have the chance, buy the tool. Thank you.